Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a really close look at one of nature's absolute most elegant creations. If you've ever just stood by a pond, maybe a lake, or a slow-moving river, you've definitely seen them resting there in that total quiet stillness. We're talking, of course, about the water lily. It is a truly magical aquatic plant, right? But I promise you, there is so much more going on with this flower than just its delicate appearance. We're going to break down its incredible biology, its crucial role in the ecosystem, and its massive, lasting impact on human culture. Let's get into it. All right, Section 1, Nature's Floating Masterpiece. To really understand this plant, we have to start our micro to macro journey right at its biological core, because it presents this amazing contrast. When we look at a water lily, our eyes are instantly drawn to that quiet stillness above the water. You know, those incredibly graceful flowers just resting perfectly on the surface. But there is a dynamic, completely hidden life going on down below. The water lily actually keeps its roots firmly anchored deep, deep down in the muddy soil at the bottom. So it's literally a plant living in two very different worlds at the exact same time: the dark, muddy depths below and the bright, beautiful sunlit surface above. Okay, let's dive into this, because while water lilies are found all over the globe, they basically fall into two main survival camps. First up, you've got the hardy water lilies. And just like the name implies, these things are incredibly tough. They are built to survive cold weather and literally overwinter in freezing climates. On the flip side, we have the tropical water lilies. Now, these thrive exclusively in warm, sunny climates, and as a reward for all that extra sunshine, they usually produce much larger and significantly brighter flowers than their hardy cousins. Moving on to Section 2, the engineering of elegance. Shifting our focus to its physical traits, we are actually looking at a total masterclass in natural engineering, because living in a harsh aquatic environment presents a really massive problem. So you have to ask yourself, how exactly do you build a floating flower? I mean, think about the water currents, the constant risk of rotting, the sheer struggle for sunlight. How on earth does the water lily survive, let alone thrive, under those kinds of conditions? Well, the water lily solves this with pure, brilliant biological engineering. It uses these large, perfectly flat leaves to maximize how much sunlight it absorbs, while these tiny internal air spaces basically act like microscopic life jackets to create buoyancy. It's genius. And below the surface, it has these incredibly long, flexible stems that allow the plant to just sway and move with the water current without snapping. Plus, to solve the massive problem of living in water without literally dissolving into it, the leaves have this specialized waxy surface. It causes water to just bead right off and completely prevents the plant from rotting. It is, quite literally, a perfectly designed aquatic machine. Section 3, the pollination track. Now, for a plant that seems so perfectly still, its daily routine is surprisingly active, and frankly, it's a little sneaky. The water lily produces these beautiful flowers that actively open up in the morning and then close tight at night. And this whole routine is specifically engineered to attract a very specific target crew of insect pollinators. We're talking bees, beetles, and flies. And this builds into a really incredible, slightly ruthless process. Step 1 is simple enough: attract those bugs with a wide open flower. But step 2 is where the magic, and honestly, a bit of temporary botanical kidnapping, happens. Some species of water lilies will actually close up and trap those insects right inside the flower. But don't worry, it's for the greater good. Step 3 happens while our little insect friend is trapped inside. The plant is just ensuring it gets fully pollinated. And finally, in step 4, the flower opens back up and releases our totally unharmed insect accomplices. Afterward, the flower kind of retreats, and the newly formed seeds actually spread underwater to grow into brand new plants. It's wild. Section 4, Guardians of the Pond. So we've seen how the plant engineers its own survival, but the water lily isn't just looking out for number 1. It's absolutely essential for the wider ecosystem. Those large flat leaves we talked about, they provide vital, safe shelter for fish and frogs. By blanketing the surface and blocking the sunlight, they actively reduce the water temperature below, which keeps the whole environment nice and stable. That very same shade also aggressively controls algae growth, keeping the water nice and clear. Put it all together, and the plant works to improve the overall oxygen balance of the pond. The water lily is essentially a natural home and a vital climate regulator for all the small aquatic creatures living in its neighborhood. Finally, Section 5, Art, History, and Survival. Zooming way out to look at its macro impact, humans have been totally fascinated by this perfect biological machine for millennia.
Going all the way back to ancient Egypt, the water lily was this deeply powerful symbol representing rebirth and the very concept of creation itself. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the famous painter Claude Monet absolutely cemented the flower into art history with his incredibly iconic, sweeping water lily paintings. And even today, across so many different cultures, the water lily continues to represent these really deep concepts like peace, purity, and enlightenment. It has genuinely left an indelible mark on human culture.
But we do have to address a pretty harsh reality here, because despite their immense beauty, their brilliant engineering, and all that historical reverence, water lilies face some incredibly severe modern threats. They are highly vulnerable to water pollution, widespread habitat destruction, and, of course, the overarching effects of climate change. It is a really stark reminder that if we want to preserve these incredible plants for future generations, protecting our wetlands and our lakes isn't just a nice option, it is absolutely essential. They truly are, as they've often been called, a symbol of harmony between beauty and nature. So the very next time you find yourself looking out over a quiet pond, I want you to remember what we've unpacked in this explainer. The water lily is so much more than just a pretty flower on the surface. Even in that total stillness, it is full of profound elegance, absolute cutting-edge biological engineering, and a massive ecological purpose.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. If such incredible elegance can survive and thrive in muddy, murky waters, what else is nature engineering right in front of us that we're completely missing? Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and thank you so much for joining me for this